Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Andrew, and today's going to be episode 2 of swapping a V8 into this car right here, my 2000 Mercedes E320 Wagon. But before I do that, I got to move this CL55 AMG out of the garage as well as my E55 AMG, which means we get to hear the sound of the hand-built 5.4 liter V8. So let's do that. Now that we have the car on jack stands, we're going to read off this list of things we're going to do in today's episode because I can't remember more than one thing at a time, so here we go. First thing we're going to do is pull the ECU and talk about Mercedes Swap Shop. They are the people who will be taking the E430 ECU that Kyle Jaworski sold me. Thank you, Kyle, for that. And mating it with this E320 ECU. I don't necessarily know what they do. It's some kind of black magic, but at the end of the day, they send me back an ECU that will be turnkey with the E430 engine. So I can use the same key. I don't have to pull the EIS or anything like that. It just should theoretically plug in and work. So we'll talk about them, link to their page down below. The second thing that we're gonna do is inspect the car because I haven't actually been under this car. I've done a little bit of a preliminary inspection, but nothing too in-depth. So we'll go under the car and see if there's anything badly damaged or rusted or things like that. Third thing we're gonna do is remove the cats and get a price for them. So I'm gonna sell them to a scrap metal person who buys catalytic converters and hopefully get a decent amount of money for them. I have replacement cats already that are in better shape. They're newer that came off of my E430. So we're gonna be totally legal, okay? Don't worry about that. The last thing that we're gonna do is remove the front bumper and test fit the sport front bumper that I have because I just wanna see what it looks like. So let's get into it. This is how you know I'm not a professional because the first thing we should do is disconnect the battery. On these cars, it's underneath the seat on the passenger side, rear passenger side. You just lift this cover up right here, somehow. Yeah, there it is. And voila, there's your battery. And it looks like 13 millimeter on this. Some of them are like 10 millimeters. I think it just depends on if the terminals have been replaced or not. I think most of them are 13 mil, so I'll get my little wrench out. So the ECUs on these are pretty easy to pull. However, I don't think this hood's gonna stay up. Yeah, so I guess I gotta figure that out first. Found a light stand. Is this the best option? Probably not. Is it gonna work? Probably. Okay, yeah, so definitely don't take any advice from me, but that'll keep us safe for now. ECU is right under this box. This is right in front of the passenger side of the firewall, and it is just 4 screws. They are captive, so once you get them loose, they'll actually stay with the box, and just like that. So ECU is going to be this bad boy right here in the very back, and then you have your ESP computer here for stability control. And then we have the transmission control unit here. We're actually going to be replacing this as well because the gear ratios in the E430 transmission is different than the V6. We are also going to be swapping in the V8 rear differential because that has a different gear ratio. So we'll pull that as well. Pop this guy out first, and then you can pull these ones out just like that. And it looks like I'm actually gonna have to remove the ESP module with this, so we'll get that out as well. So there's one screw right here that we need to remove to get this module out. I say module, but it's 2 modules really. But it's one bracket holding 2 modules in. And come on, bada boom. There we go. ECU and ESP module out. So we're gonna need a T30 to get these bolts off, to get the ECU off the bracket. And now's a good time to talk about Mercedes Swap Shop and how I found out about them. I met Kyle Jaworski. I'll link his Instagram here. You'll be able to see that. I don't know, 3 years ago maybe. And he has a 5.4 liter AMG swapped S210 wagon with a manual transmission. And he just had the Mercedes Swap Shop code out the automatic transmission from his ECU so he doesn't have a check engine light anymore. And that's pretty remarkable because this is an ME 2.0 ECU, which is what Kyle has as well. And if you know anything about these cars, the 2.0 ECUs are basically like they've been known to be really difficult to program. The 2.8 ECU, which came later in the 2001, 2002 cars, are much easier to program, as well as the TCU, which would be EGS 52, right? I think I'm saying that, and the ME 2.0s is EGS 51. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, these are just harder to deal with, but somehow Mercedes Swap Shop has the secret sauce to be able to break these open and work on them. So that's why we're sending it to them. I'm really excited. And again, I'll link Kyle Jaworski down below, as well as the Mercedes Swap Shop. Next, we're going to remove the wheels so we can start our inspection. I hope that looked like a NASCAR pit stop with the editing. Well, we've made an interesting discovery. We have drilled and slotted rotors. I'm not totally offended by that, but it's not stock. But then I also noticed the brake pads are really thick. So whoever had this car probably did brakes right before they got rid of it, because there's like no grooving on these things at all. They feel pretty good. And then something else to look at on these W210s, spring perches. These things are notorious for rusting out, if I can focus this camera, but looking at it, looks pretty good actually. Looks like the fender liner might be coming apart here. Yeah, maybe a little bit. Not a big deal. And as you can see, my suspicion is correct. Sway bar end link is toast. There should not be that much room in that bushing, and it looks like it's cracked as well. Moving to the rear passenger side, let's take a look at the brakes. Yeah, it looks like the back, I'm gonna have to replace those pads. They're fairly thin. And the rotor's a little groove, not too bad. I did have to replace these bushings on my other wagon. These ones look like they're probably okay, but keep an eye out for those. Oh, I've never done these before, but it looks like we're gonna have to do them on this car. Rear subframe bushings. Yeah, look at that crack right there. Okay, we're gonna add that to the list. Side 2 in the front looking just about the same as the other side, which is a good thing, I suppose. You know, no rust, no damage. Once we get under the car, we'll you know, put a pry bar and everything, but yeah, it's looking pretty much the same as the other side. Moving to the back on the other side, you can see there's another bad subframe bushing. So rest of the suspension back here looks pretty much the same. Well, that one looks like the shock tower bushing is cracked, so we might replace both of those on each side. You know, rest of it looking just about the same, which is good. No rust, no damage. All right, moving to the underside of the car with the GoPro. And first thing that I'm looking for is like impact damage. You know, seeing if maybe somebody had a few too many road sodas on their way home and hit the sidewalk or driveway a little too fast, that kind of thing. And then rust, which, yeah, overall it's looking pretty clean under this car. All right, now we're under the front. The first thing I want to take a look at is these bushings. Now, a little bit of movement is fine because they're soft, and it looks like we got a little bit of movement, but it feels pretty good, pretty stiff still, and there's no cracks on that bushing, so we're gonna call that one good. Let's check the back one. This one, oh, that one's nice. Yeah, no movement there. Check the ball joint here. Get this pry bar right here. Try not to hurt the boot. You can get it maybe like that. There we go. Oh yeah. Oops. Clearly I'm a professional, guys. Let's try it like this. Yeah, that's feeling pretty solid. Let's check the... actually, I don't know if you can see that. Looks like there might be a little bit of a crack on the tie rod there. So we'll probably just have to replace those. Looks like there's some leaks, but we expect that, and this engine's coming out, so I'm not too worried about that. Let's check the bushings on this side. Let's see. Yeah, that one feels pretty good. And this side. Yeah, that one's still pretty good. Okay, so bushings are decent. Looks like this ball joint's seen better days. Let's check that one. Oh, it's still pretty solid though. And then, yeah, this tie rod also looks like it's a little bit cracked. I don't know if you can see that. So, definitely due for tie rods. All right, pretty happy with that so far. Well, I'm kind of bored with inspecting things. I kind of need to make some money so I can pay for some of the stuff on this car, and we're gonna do that by removing the catalytic converters. So what we're gonna need is these part numbers here. I don't know if you can see those, but there's a bunch of numbers on here. We're gonna need to send those to my cat buyer so that way he can tell me what the value is on these. And while he does that, I will remove these, and we're gonna need a 12mm and a 13mm to get that joint broken there. 13mm for this bracket. And then we've got 13mm on these brackets here to the transmission. And then there should be 13mm at the exhaust manifolds. I have had them be E-Torques in the past, specifically on my E55 right there. And I don't know if that's an AMG thing or not because I've only done one. But yeah, that's the point, is there's 13mm up there and we gotta get them out. So let's do that. Let's spray some PB Blaster on these exhaust manifold bolts so we can get them out a little easier. There we go. Oh my gosh, everywhere. Oh my gosh, it's just getting everywhere. I don't know if you can see this again on camera, but yeah, there we go. Got it. This bolt is gonna be a 13. That nut's gonna be a 12. Usually these come out without too much of a fight. Let's just see if that's the case today. First one seems to have broken loose. Do this one now, see if we can get it loose. Oh, that one's already kind of loose. And there's that side done, pretty easy. All right, now that we have all these bolts out, I'm gonna take this one out. This one just keeps these pipes together. I've found, at least for me anyway, it's easier just to get this out of the way now, since I'm gonna need to separate these anyway. Oh, get that out of the way. Right now we're looking at the driver's side primary catalytic converter. And I'm gonna get this socket up into the first bolt. I don't know if you can see that, but that's the first bolt. It can be accessed pretty easily as long as you have an extension, and apparently a lot of force. Holy crap, that thing's on there. We might have to call out the big guns for this one. All right, we have much bigger guns now, courtesy of Harbor Freight. Let's see if we can get this thing loose. I don't really care if it breaks. I just care that it comes off. There we go. Well, we're not breaking it. That's nice. This other one's gonna need one of these little, you know, universal or wobblies or whatever you want to call them, the bendy ratchet attachment, we like to call it around here. Snake that around the back side, and then she'll make contact right about there. Try to stay out of the camera's view, but it's kind of hard. Oh yeah, that one's actually arguably loose, but she's coming out. Now we're on the passenger side, and this first one is really easy. You can see it right here. Boom. And then we'll just take the ratchet, make sure she's square so we don't round off the bolt, and just like that. All right, I'll show you how to do the other side. We're gonna need one of these again. Just snake her right behind the sway bar, and then she'll make contact with that bolt. As you can see, the wobbly's right there. And yeah, we're just gonna have to send it. I'm sorry, I can't really get a shot on it, but it's on there, trust me. All right, let's break her loose. Yeah, that one was pretty easy too. Before we get too far, I need to disconnect the O2 sensors. So you come to the top side of the motor, right on the firewall. Here's your first connector, it just pulls out. And the other one's just right here. And we'll pop that off and just kind of send her on down her way. Make sure they don't get caught on anything. And then we'll go ahead and disconnect the secondary O2s right here. Try and get them out. Okay, last thing we have to do is remove these 13mm nuts from these brackets that hold the exhaust to transmission. These usually aren't that tight, but yeah, they're not that tight. Ladies and gentlemen, This is filmmaking at its finest. This is the drama. This is the part where I potentially kill myself. And, oh, just kidding. Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. What's holding this up? Oh, God. Is there still a nut in there? Frick. Ha! All right. Yeah, I guess there is a little bit of drama, right? Gosh darn it. There's still a nut in the freaking manifold that I thought fell out, but it didn't. Let's see if we can, oh, there it is. Okay, just kidding. It was fooling me. It's out. Come on. Don't kill me. There we go. Nice. All right. That's number one. Let's see if we can get number two. There we go. Okay, this one I think has to slide off. Oh, huh. Let's see. Yeah, I think it. It's got to slide off at the back there. Yeah, come on. Come here. Oh, there we go. It's out. Slide her back. And that's how you remove the exhaust from a W210. So this is what the pipes look like when they're out. Not that that's super interesting, but to prep these for shipping, I need to cut basically all the excess pipe off. We want to keep the casing intact with the part number. So we're going to do that now. And all right, did I do that snap right? Probably looked horrible, but whatever. Here we go. This is essentially what I cut them down to. And I just got word back from our cat guy, and apparently one of these isn't worth very much. In fact, it's worth nothing. I think it's this one. Actually, no, it's this one. For whatever reason, it's just not worth anything. And I had this problem on the last set of cats that I sold. The other bad thing is rare metals, or at least the metals that are in here, like gold and palladium and all that stuff, those are all down too. So the last set of these I sold, I got like $850. And this set, I'm only gonna get like $480. So it's like $400 less. Kind of a bummer, but still worth something. And you know, it adds to the project, so whatever. All right, I know I said I was going to test fit the sport bumper, but quite frankly, I'm tired and I am done making a fool of myself today. So I'm gonna call that the end of the video. We're gonna go ahead and package this ECU up, send it to the Mercedes swap shop. I don't know how long that's gonna take, but quite frankly, it doesn't matter because we have a lot of other things we need to do before this car is ready for an ECU, such as, well, remove this motor. And then I also need to reseal the 4.3 liter V8 that's gonna be going in here. That's gonna be a whole nother video in itself. So if you guys like this video, you know what to do. I appreciate all the views and the support that I've been getting, especially on the first video. Again, comment down below if you want to see anything specific. Follow me on Instagram. I'll leave all my stuff down here for that. And again, big shout out to Kyle for the ECU, the E430 ECU, as well as the throttle body. That'll be in another video as well. And also shout out to the Mercedes Swap Shop for being awesome and easy to work with and super knowledgeable. So anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.